the office of Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost. My name is Brandon. Have you contacted us about this topic before?
Not specifically, no.
Okay, what's your name?
My name is Brandon as well.
B-R-A-N-D-O?
Brandon, yeah.
Okay, and your last name?
I don't have a last name. My family name is Killeran. Killloran.
Thank you. And what's a good mailing address for you?
My private property location is 469 White Oak Avenue in Zanesville, Ohio.
And your zip code?
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Okay, and what's a good phone number to reach you by if the calls withdraw?
Let's see, that'd be 740-647-2521.
Thank you. And what can we assist you with today?
Well, I have a serious situation going on out here in Zanesville between the persons operating as Zanesville Police Department, Zanesville Municipal Court, and the Muskingum County, as well as the Court of Common Pleas. What has transpired over the past couple of weeks is extremely and egregiously unlawful. Direct violations of the constitutions as well as Supreme Court rulings and the supreme law of the land is being utterly ignored and knowingly and willfully ignored, in my opinion. Because these people have a duty and obligation to know their job and know what their boundaries are and what they can and can't do, and when they act outside of those boundaries, it can only be willful actions on their own part, not by accident, because they are obligated to know what those boundaries are. So, to be specific, back on June 15th, I had my life and property threatened by persons doing business as the Zanesville Police Department. Specifically, which persons were involved, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't been able to get a copy of the police report yet. And the persons that were on my property that trespassed that day and committed this unlawful act that violates the constitutions and the Supreme Court failed to properly identify themselves as they were threatening my life and property. By doing so, by threatening my life and property, they forced me to comply under the extreme duress to their threats to comply to being arrested and abducted from my property and trafficked to the local municipal jail, where they then held me for 10 consecutive days unlawfully with these false accusations to which they are accusing me of. The persons doing business as the Zanesville Police Department and the quote-unquote detectives that are employed there, those persons are refusing to perform a proper and adequate investigation of a matter that has been persisting at my private property. The private property of which I'm a beneficiary of. There's been nuisance noise issues at all hours of the night, almost every night for the past roughly 3 years. I have repeatedly called to made a call to service or for service to the persons operating as Zanesville Police Department that are contracted by the city of Zanesville to perform these duties, and that are outlined according to the Ohio Revised Code and the local codes and so forth.
Okay, and I get all this. So why are you calling our office?
Well, somebody in this state should hold these public servants accountable. Now, I understand that for... Let me finish. I'm trying to explain to you why I'm calling you, and you're cutting me off. But go ahead. I guess what you have to say is more important.
Okay, so the Attorney General's office, we do not oversee local law enforcement.
Okay.
When it comes to local law enforcement, there is a specific process or a chain of command for complaints.
Sure.
The first person you would go to is the chief of the police department.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I already know this stuff, so if I could continue my explanation, I'm not asking you to directly be involved with the police department. I am simply trying to explain the situation to you. So if you would like to not take every little jot and tittle that I say and run with it, I would appreciate it. I'm trying to convey to you the entire situation. Do you understand what I'm saying?
if your issues with your local law enforcement, we don't oversee. So I'm not sure what.
Well, it's because you're not letting me finish. If you would let me finish, I could tell you the rest of the story, and maybe you would have an idea of what I'm talking about.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So, with all these actions performed by these incompetent and derelict and criminal public servants doing business as the Zanesville Police Department, they have manipulated the courts, the municipal court, as well as Court of Common Pleas, the foreperson of the grand jury. All of this I've outlined in my affidavits and submitted to the court. Now, the detectives are supplying false reports to different persons in different capacities, whether it be in the municipal court or the Court of Common Pleas or the prosecuting attorney or the foreperson of the grand jury or what have you, and threatening my life and property under the color of law action when they don't even have jurisdiction according to the Supreme Court. So, however you guys want to look at it, regardless of the semantics, when you boil it all down, regardless if it's the police department or if it's Joe Blow's business out on the street corner, these are businesses and corporations doing business and are contracted to perform certain actions. So the Zanesville Police Department, even though they're contracted to allegedly protect and serve the community and to be considered law enforcement, they are still nonetheless a corporation that fall under the same guidelines and same rules and boundaries. Now, the Ohio Attorney General's office, I mean, just in the very automated message that was playing while I was on hold for almost 40 minutes, waiting for you to answer the phone, explained several times, even the website explains that the Attorney General's office does have jurisdiction or at least the ability to perform actions regarding fraudulent practices of businesses. Am I mistaken in that?
Well, law enforcement would be treated as a business. Same with your municipal courts or other local agencies.
I'm sorry, say that again?
They aren't treated as a business. So local police, local courts, those aren't treated as businesses. When we talk about businesses, we're talking about like car dealerships or like home improvement contractors.
And why?
That's considered a business.
Why isn't the Zanesville Police Department and the municipal court, why aren't they considered businesses?
They're not classified that way.
How so?
They're simply not.
How so?
They're local agencies. They're government bodies.
But regardless of what you call them, they are still registered with the state under a corporate name.
Okay, but we don't treat those as businesses. They're not classified as businesses or private businesses.
So you're giving them special privileges and special treatments. I'm just trying to understand. I don't understand what you're saying, so I'm just trying to understand if you could explain it a little bit more in detail.
Well, I'm not sure what I mean. They're government agencies. Like for example, like the U.S. Supreme Court is a government agency. The President of the United States, even though he's the executive branch of government, he is still a government body.
No, actually, according to the Supreme Court, see, I think there may be a breakdown in information because.
Regardless, when we take consumer complaints, sir, we do not take complaints against. We do not complaints against government agencies. We don't have oversight of government agencies.
Well, see, I was told something similar when I tried to complain about a non-government agency. You guys told me you guys don't take complaints about regular companies, although that's a incorrect statement about the facts. In fact, on the website, it even says that you guys take consumer complaints, and even on the automated machine that's while I was on hold was telling me that you guys do, but now you're telling me that you don't. So it sounds like you guys are just contradicting yourselves and either don't want to handle the matter or I don't know what to presume at this point. I need you to help me understand.
So I'm not sure who you spoke to before. We didn't think we take business. We said we don't take complaints against private companies. We won't take complaints against private companies or private businesses when it falls in our jurisdiction.
So what is your jurisdiction?
When it comes to public agencies, so the main role of our office is we serve as legal counsel to state agencies, boards, and commissions. So the main role of our office is we serve as attorneys for state agencies specifically. However, we do have other parts of our office, like our consumer protection section. You can take a complaint against a car dealership, for example, for failing to provide a title. Or if a contractor fails to actually show up and do their job. Or if, say, you buy something from a store and they fail to deliver it to you. Like those type of things, like actual consumer transactions where normally money is exchanged.
Oh, well, I mean, money has been exchanged in this situation too, and on top of that, my God-given constitutionally secured rights have been utterly obliterated. But that doesn't seem to matter to you people. I don't understand why.
Well, we can't. Well, we don't. As I said, we're not over law enforcement. We're not over local government agencies. We're not over any
Well, who
government
is?
agencies for that matter.
Well, who is? Tell me who is in this godforsaken state.
So Ohio is a home rule state. So for most local agencies are overseen at the local. When it comes to local police, there's a specific chain of command, as I was starting to say earlier. You have your chief of police, you have the Department of Internal Affairs, the mayor's office, and then up above the mayor would be the U.S. Department of Justice. Whereas if it's a sheriff's office you're having an issue with, then it goes directly to the U.S. Department of Justice. And when it comes to the court system, basically lower courts are overseen by higher courts. And usually you have to consult an attorney to appeal cases or things like that. If you do believe there was misconduct by an attorney or judge, you can reach out to the Ohio Supreme Court Disciplinary Council.
Oh, I'm fully aware of that. I don't need your advice on that. I'm just trying to figure out who is actually going to hold these people accountable, because I'm doing everything in my power and my ability to file correct documents with the courts, file lawsuits with the court against the perpetrators and the persons committing the crimes. But unfortunately, it seems that these people are getting special treatment. I mean, by your very statement that you don't even consider these corporations, you consider them something different. You're giving them special treatment because you're not considering them under the same classification as everyone else, when our constitutions specifically state that all men and I'm paraphrasing, created naturally, and we basically all have the same rights. No one man or woman has more rights than another, according to the constitutions. But the way you're explaining it is that these persons that are doing business as these, what you call government agencies, or these corporations masquerading as government agencies, are getting special treatment and possibly immunities that are unlawful, protecting them from the unlawful actions that they're committing and the crimes that are actually committing under the guise of protecting and serving. Now, anybody in their right mind should have a problem with what I just said and want to get to the bottom of why it is being done this way in this state. But it would seem to me that you all are basically covering for each other. And that's what it seems like to me, because
I'm not sure you're referring to government agencies have never been considered like private corporations or like
Really?
private businesses like that. That's not how it is.
That's not true. I don't know where you got that information from, but that's not true.
Every other state. Sir, if you're challenging a case that's going on in court, that's something you have to consult a private attorney about.
No, I don't. That's incorrect information. See, now you're giving me legal advice. Are you an attorney?
It's not legal advice to say that if you're having a legal issue to consult an attorney who can give you legal advice.
Actually, that is legal advice. That's the very definition of it. So you need to double check your definitions. What's your name again?
My name is Brandon.
And what's your last name?
Durbin.
Can you spell that, please, for the record?
Yes, D as in David, U-R, B as in boy, I-N.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and post this and forward this conversation. It is being recorded, which is my my right.
Okay,
I do not need to notify anybody.
Fine.
And I will be sending this conversation to the proper authorities and to the proper channels because I think that, well, let me rephrase that. I know that some of the information that you have given me is absolutely incorrect. And some of the information that you have given me that you are not authorized to give as the person in your capacity. So this is your verbal notice that you may want to check the definitions of what you're saying to make sure that what you're saying is true, because you can get yourself in a lot of trouble if you give misinformation, especially acting on behalf of the Attorney General's Office of Ohio. Do you understand that?
I do understand that, and I've given you nothing but correct information.
Well, ignorance is not an excuse under the law and in a court of law. So I would just encourage you to make sure.
I have given you the correct referrals. I have given you the correct referrals. You may disagree with them, but that is up to you.
It's not my opinion. I'm going by what the Supreme Court says. If you don't want to pay attention to the Supreme Court, then you are in the wrong, and it's your responsibility and duty to figure that out. Have a good day.